Good morning. Another day, continuing letter number 17 in the Tanya. This letter was addressing until now we're going to address in this letter some very significant and fundamental ideas in Yiddishkeit. One we started talking about already was Isarusa del Sata, awakening from below, that awakens and inspires and instills by Hashem, reciprocates a response or moves things that Hashem should respond or continue to inspire us. As we said, the idea of Chodesh Elul, Hashem either inspires us first and we respond, or we get inspired first and Hashem responds. And it's usually a combination, as we'll hopefully talk about sometime. Then we started talking about the uniqueness of tzedakah. Tzedakah has the ability to awaken by Hashem this amazing reward, amazing reciprocation. And we said there's two parts to it. There's Hakeren, the primary, which we're going to get when Mashiach comes, or let's leave it when Mashiach comes. Olom Haba, the world to come, and what the benefits are. The trickle down effect. That even now in this world, this lofty inspiration or this lofty awakening and above trickles down all the way into the physical world, all the way into our health, our happiness, our family, all the benefits that it benefits us. But the ultimate is really what's going to take place in the future. So we left over with a couple issues, couple things. Let's go back a couple lines and address these issues. We're on page 249 or Kuf Chaf Hey. Okay. Kuf Chaf Hey, you have it? Very good, Zayin, yeah. Letter Yud Zayin. We're basically talking about the following statement. Last week we asked a question on these three words here. The end of the first half of chapter 119 in Tehillim finishes L'chol tichla v'isi kates. For every yearning, for all wants, I have found an end. But your mitzvah is wide. And we said we're going to have to address three questions on this verse. Number one question is, which we spoke about last week, what is a mitzvah and not mitzvah secha? Mitzvah means your mitzvah. Mitzvah secha means your mitzvahs. We said, well, it's talking about tzedakah, which is unique from all the other mitzvahs. And last week we spoke, in what way is tzedakah unique? And we spoke about it. First of all, it doesn't have to be reciprocated above. Hashem, it's a constant activity of Hashem. It reaches down when Hashem does the mitzvahs. It reaches all the way down here, the physical world. We spoke about that last week. What we have in the words, what does it mean, rechava? Your mitzvah is wide. It's a strange expression. It's wide. And the second, say it's big, say it's great, it's grand. Second question is, what does it mean, ma'od? Rechava mitzvahs ma'od is very. There are certain things in our life we can say is very. I'm happy, I'm very happy. It's, you could use expressions in our world. We could say, I'm late, I'm very late. I'm hungry, I'm very hungry. What does it mean, Hashem's mitzvah? The idea is, rechava ma'od is very, very broad. I mean, Hashem has like two types of broad. Hashem has like a very large, then he has a super extra large, the grand, edition, the grande. You have to understand. Okay. Before we get to those answers, we're going to enter one more verse. And the verse said like this. It said, if you look at the last few lines that we learned last week, it says that the paris, the fruits of the mitzvah of tzedakah we get in this world, which basically affects our children, our health, and our sustenance. And the primary, the Karen, the main thing is going to be when Mashiach comes or Lasad Lavai. But then he said, like it says in the verse, this is 4 lines from the bottom as we're up to. Like it says, 4 lines up. Like it says, V'shamru derech Hashem la'asei tzedakah cholu. They will guard the way of Hashem to do tzedakah. What does it mean? What are we talking about here? We're going back to Avraham Avinu. Before the destruction of Sodom, Hashem tells Avraham, Hashem basically said, how can I hide from Avraham? He's the one that's going to have the children, the Jewish people, and they will guard the path of Hashem. So we spoke real briefly last week. Let's go into it now. What does it mean, this path of Hashem? The path of Hashem is a channel. What does it mean, a channel? Like a road, he says, next line, that leads from city to city. When we talk about Hashem, I wanted to focus on that a lot today. There's levels. There's Hashem in his, it's called the Ein Sof, the infinite light. There's Hashem, that's before any process of creation, any process of layers and levels. That's just infinite light from Hashem, undescribed, you can't qualify it or put in any parameters. Infinite light. Then you have the path of Hashem that begins, which is Atzilus, Beria, Yetzirah, all the levels and the heavenly spheres, all the layers that are up there. And there's a process how the godly light comes from above process into process. So you have first, let's just take it very simply. You have Hashem's infinite light before you have even Chachma, Bina, Das, Chesed, Gvura. That all starts with creation. This is pre-creation of even the spiritual worlds. And now this path, how you trickle or get godliness from above process into process, this path is the path of tzedakah. Tzedakah, Hashem tzedakah. Hashem tzedakah is what makes things come through this path. What brings from this highest level to this very high level is this derech Hashem, this path. How do we control that path or create that path or maintain that path? When we do tzedakah. When we do tzedakah, we create and protect this channel. So what does it mean? We want to say here at the end of this first part of the letter, that it's our tzedakah, it's our good deeds of, again, we're talking about the compassion part, the compassion for someone else that opens up a channel that Hashem can give us from his highest levels of godliness to come down into the world of angels, the world of souls, into the world of all the spirituality, till it comes down to our world, the physical world, till it comes down to our kitchen, that our food is actually blessed, our home is blessed, our table is blessed, our family is blessed, our health is blessed. All that is a trickle down from this path created by the Mitzvah of tzedakah. Let's see this inside here. Like it says, there were the last two words on the 4 lines in the bottom. V'shamru derech Hashem. Hashem is describing the Jewish people. They will guard the path of Hashem. La'asei tzedakah, to do tzedakah. Meaning, we will do tzedakah to guard this path. When we do tzedakah, when a yid opens his house and gets in a poor person, you see a person that doesn't have the ability to pay for their bills, and you give them a donation, you give them some tzedakah, you give them some support. This creates that Hashem reciprocates the same way and gives us the reward, gives us the tzedakah, gives us the continuous blessings. This path of godliness coming down into our world is like a way you connect. You have 2 cities. Let's say you have the city which is the capital, and you have the city which is in the suburb or extension, and then you have a road that connects it. How do people get from the primary city to the next city? By a road. How does godliness come down into this world? Through the road. And that road, we maintain it. We are the maintainers of that road. Okay. Now comes the line which you have to examine. This is where we left off. Kach tzedakah. Same thing we could say. The mitzvah of tzedakah, he bechinas gili, not the mitzvah of tzedakah. The action of tzedakah. He bechinas gili v'ha'aras eid ein seif baruch hu. We are revealing and making shine the revelation of God's infinite light. And we're going to use now words which we're going to talk about a lot today. Soviv kol almin, that which is soviv, the higher level, we'll talk about it soon. Kol almin sheyor v'yiskala, that it should shine and be revealed ad elam ha'azeh, even down to this world. This act of tzedakah brings Hashem's light of soviv. Soviv, we'll mention briefly, but we'll talk about it soon. Soviv is that level of light that's above ability to receive in this world. It's a level so big that there's no vessel, no vehicle, no medium in this world that can handle it unfiltered. That means not only human beings, not only tzaddikim, even angels, even Atzilus. They can't have. It's such a giant light, such an unfiltered light. It's unreceivable. Let's leave it at that for now. We want this light to come down and shine even this physical world. Through this, that a Jew is going to do an awakening by God. We're going to inspire God. We can do that. We'll inspire God. God, you inspired. I'm going to do tzedakah. You feel the inspiration. To tzedakah v'chesed, and then v'chesed chinam. And Hashem is going to reciprocate by giving us a free kindness back. He's giving us free stuff back. L'asid in the future, b'tchias ha'mesim, with the tchias ha'mesim. Let's stop right here for a moment. We have a lot to talk about now. First of all, before we get to the word tchias ha'mesim, let's first take these 2 words, chesed chinam, kindness. The definition of kindness means, and free stuff means, you didn't earn it, I just gave it to you. We seem to be saying a contradiction in terms here. We said we earn it, we inspire God, and we get free stuff. If we're inspiring God by our tzedakah, that's not free. That's called reward. Reward means not free stuff. When someone gets a reward, it's very similar to a payment. Different payment is, we'll see in a moment, a payment is exactly commensurate to what you earned. And reward could be a little bit more, not necessarily exactly matching what you earned. So if you did it, you cut my grass for me without me asking you, and usually I pay a gardener, $50, I might give you $100. Why? Because I'm rewarding you, I'm not paying you. Fine. So the question is, why is it called free when it's not free? It's a reward. And the answer is exactly what we just said. There's two answers. I'm going to tell you both of them. One answer given is that a reward in this case is not the right word. You know why? Because if you cut my grass and I give you $100 donation or gift, that is, you could say I earned it. You could say proudly I earned it. It wasn't a payment, but I earned $100. I cut the grass. How about you cut my grass and I give you $1 million? That you can't say you earned. Why not? What do you mean, why not? I earned it, I cut the grass, but the grass does not elicit such a response. Obviously, I gave $1 million, meaning you did not earn this, but I'm giving it to you. But what inspired me to do it was you cutting my grass. In other words, you have a very wealthy, elderly woman, or man for that matter, but usually the women stay around longer. You have an elderly woman, and she has a lawn, and some sweet family takes care of her, invites her for the barbecues, or invites her for, Friday night dinners, and just so reciprocate, she leaves them, $10 million in their will, whatever it is. Why'd she do it? Because she felt indebted, and this is how she wanted to reward you. But not that she's paying for the dinners, because that amount of money is not matching what you invested, except her love and her feelings were inspired and touched, and you woke up with something inside of her that gave an unmeasurable response. That's one answer. What does that mean? It's true that we earned something. We got the ball rolling, but it's like somebody who lights a lighter in a room full of explosives. My lighter could not make that giant explosion. So what happened? Your lighter touched the right place, and it was a massive boom. So in the same thing here, when we went and did the act of tzedakah, it's called free, not because it's free and I didn't earn it. It's called free because it's like the word mitzia. It says egaiti u'mitzasi. If I effort, I will find. Why does it say egaiti, I will succeed? What does it mean? I'll be hatzlach. What does it mean to find? The word find, the Rebbe says, means an unimaginable success. You see, if I would just, when you find something, it means I did not expect it. I walked down the bill, it's $100 bill. That was unexpected. Why not? Weren't you a good guy? Yeah, but that money wasn't coming to me. I just found it. It's a surprise. Matzia means I will earn a level of surprise that it's unimaginable what I got compared to what I earned, what I worked hard to do. And that's the first definition. What does that mean? It's called chinam, because the reward that Hashem will give us is so much greater than our tzedakah that we're calling it a free gift. It's like $1 million I cut in the grass. That's one answer given. Given is, there's really two parts of a story. Whenever we have a spiritual experience, and the same thing, by the way, is a physical experience too, any experience, but it's easier to understand with spiritual. Or anything with not necessarily spiritual, but something which is more emotional or intellectual versus a physical thing. There's two parts of the experience, is what the person gives and how I receive it. You see, the chinam part is Hashem giving. Hashem gives without you asking him. Hashem is giving you a tremendous amount, tremendous amount of unearned success, blessings, spirituality, etc. But if I want to receive it, I got to do my work. What I mean, Hashem to help me be a receptacle, a vessel. You have times that you have, for example, in this room, tremendous airwaves of fascinating music. I don't have a receiver on my radio to receive it. So I'm sitting here on my cup. I'm saying, I don't hear the music yet because it's not a right vessel. The radio, and then you'll hear all the music, the radio stations, AM, FM, whatever it is. Same thing with the internet. Sometimes it's not the lack of the thing being there; it's the lack of you opening your ears or becoming a vessel. For that, you go and do a mitzvah. Hashem makes you a vessel, which means, what did I earn? I earned to be a vessel, but what I'm getting, that was unearned. That's free. So two different answers given why it says on one hand, I earned it. I did a service l'sata. Yes, I awaken within Hashem a feeling to help me become a vessel for his light. But the fact that his light was pouring down to me, the fact that he was pouring blessings, that was not earned. I'm just how much I'll receive. It's similar to, we find other places, difference between a bracha and a tefillah. That means I already have my bank account $1 million. And the bracha, just accessing that million. Hashem already decided at the end of the year that Moshe Rapoport will earn $1 million this year. That's pretty cute. But let's say he said that. But that money I didn't get until someone gives me a bracha, either a Rebbe or a tzaddik or someone or a friend who cares about me, says, Shnas hatzlacha, I wish we could wish each other blessings. And now that money sitting in the account that Hashem has ready for me, I can earn. That's called a bracha. A tefillah means you have no money in your account. Your account is empty. So what do you want? I don't want a bracha. Bracha just means to draw down. Like a bricha is a pool. It's gathered. It's or a berkayim knees that brings stuff down. And drawing down a plant of a vineyard to plant it again. A bracha just draws down what's there already. It's tefillah means he rots it, may it be your will, meaning I know the account is empty. I know I don't have it there. So this is the two parts here. The part that the bank account will be filled, God says, I got you free. I am pouring money into your account. But if you want to access that, you got to give tzedakah, and that will awaken within me for you to actually become a receiver for that money. Not the exact same thing, but that's the concept. Okay. Thanks. Now we're going to another concept. To go further in this parak here, we have to open up another subject. This is a mixture of a fun subject and a practical subject, and probably a confusing subject. So I'll help you get more confused. I specialize in that.
I'm already there.
What is that? The machlik is a very famous argument, not as an argument of people, but an argument of intellectual ideas between the Rambam and the Ramban, between Maimonides and Nachmanides. Just so you know, whenever we say Rambam, we emphasize the first half of the word. The names are so similar. So in Yeshiva, we say Rambam, we say Rambam. We want to say Nachmanides, Ramban, we emphasize the second half of the word. So in case you didn't hear if I said Rambam or Ramban, you will hear if I say Rambam, that means Maimonides. If I say Ramban, it means Nachman. Just a system we use in case someone didn't hear, Okay. So the Rambam says that the ultimate reward is souls without bodies. What's the final stage of Mashiach and this final stage? Souls without bodies. The last stage, the last frontier, souls living and no bodies. Why not bodies? Bodies interfere. Why can't we experience spirituality now? We're looking through our glasses that are made out of physical material stuff. How could you experience? So he says that the final stage, even after the revival of the dead, will be the next stage where everyone's souls leave their bodies, or the bodies leave the soul, I should say. The bodies will leave, and we live in the world of souls. And that's the final frontier. Amazing. No one has too much weight. No one's gaining weight, etc. Nachmanides says, Ramban says, no, the final thing is souls in bodies. That means when Mashiach comes, finally revival of the dead, the last stage is everyone's back alive in physical bodies. That's the ultimate. Hasidus, Paskins here like the Ramban, Nachmanides. We say it's Ramban, physical souls and bodies, and it's based on the whole idea of Dir B'Tachteinim, as we'll talk about some of it. But the bottom line is, what does that mean? That means in the world of afterlife, we have two worlds. We have something called Gan Eden. We have something called Olom Haba. Now, these terms are very fluid. You'll have somewhere where we use the word Olom Haba, meaning Gan Eden. And that's what makes it so complicated. Kol Yisrael yesh lam chelik Olom Haba. Every Jew has a portion of Olom Haba. What does that mean? Gan Eden or Olom Hatchia? Does that mean the world of Mashiach? Does that mean the world of Gan Eden? Depends who you ask. So there's a lot of discussion. The Rebbe has a mimer on it, many mimer on it, and there's a lot of discussion on it. Exactly takes place, and how does everyone attain this? But the bottom line is there are two places of absolute reward, meaning when the game's over, and now we just get the benefits. One is called Gan Eden. Gan Eden is what we call after someone passes away. And let's just define that as everyone's personal future, because it's not a general time for everybody. Everybody has their destination. You live 120 years, and now you make it up there, bloop, go up to heaven. And that's your Gan Eden. If you're lucky, go to Gan Eden. If you're not so lucky, it takes you a little time until you get there, but everyone gets there. Everyone goes there amongst the Yidden. And then there's a second time called Mashiach's coming. And Mashiach's coming 40 years in, as we know, after Mashiach comes, there's going to begin a process called Olom Hatchia, with the revival of the dead. Some people get up right away, like great Rebbes and great tzaddikim, super tzaddikim, but most people get up after 40 years. Everybody comes back. So 40 years of like transition time. We have all the blessings. There's peace in the world. It's wonderful. We're having delicious sandwiches. And then suddenly life gets serious. Why? Because the Rambam is here and Ramban is here, and grandfather's here and Bubby and Zaidi, and it's all the people we missed, and it's unbelievable. It becomes I think of family gatherings. People got together, and you had like 100 people coming together at some bar mitzvah, and you're talking and it's noisy. Just imagine, Bubby, she passed away in 1937. It's like everyone. It's an amazing time. It's going to be unbelievable. It says we're going to laugh. Why are we going to laugh? Because people get up as they passed away. You're going to have a Bubby who passed away when she was 40, and her daughter lived to be 97. And it's going to be like the Bubby is younger than the daughter, and then the grandchild, they'll be in the middle.
They're going to come back exactly as they were when they passed?
That's what it says. It says they'll come back to that age. Again, who no one knows. This is what we say. But now it says even people who had injuries will come back and get healed right away. They'll come back. It means you have to see anything not good, but they're going to reform themselves completely and come back to full health, etc. But it's a fascinating. But the fun's going to be the noise in the room of everyone talking. The language is what? I don't understand you. It's going to be a lot of excitement. I say buy shoes and stock up on shoes. I had a theory once why the Rebbe made a campaign called a house full of Svarim, buy some Svarim. I bought hundreds of Svarim I don't use because the Rebbe said, have your house full of Svarim. I think when Mashiach comes, everyone's going to need Svarim. And it's not going to be enough. But if everyone stocks their house with hundreds of Svarim, I don't use too much of them. I use my phone a lot, but I'll have it available. Okay. Bottom line is, at that time is called Olom Haba. And then people come back in physical bodies. And that's Olom Haba. So for our conversation today and the next rest of this chapter, we're going to call Gan Eden the world where people go individually. And when they pass away, they go to this place. And it's very, very high. And then we're going to get to the place called Olom Haba, which is back in bodies. The question is, what's higher? And I'm not going to order the chapter. I just want to give you some perspective. What's higher? I think it's extremely obvious, and we'll see from the chapter, that Olom Haba is higher, meaning the world of the living, according to the Ramban. We're learning with the Ramban now. Why is that obviously higher? Imagine a soul that passed away of a righteous man, Yosef HaTzadik, right? Yosef passed away over 3,500 years ago. He passes away, he goes to immediately, not just Gan Eden, some high level, some very main spiritual experience. And it says every year on the yard site, you go higher and higher. That means for 3,000 years, almost 4,000 years, he's going higher and higher and higher in a journey that our minds can't comprehend. And then we say when Mashiach comes, he's going to reward to come to Olom Haba. Olom Haba has to be the highest level, higher than anything you can reach. Otherwise, what's the reward? You take me down. Now you put me back in a physical body. I was living without a body for 3,000 years. Now you're going to stuff me back into an uncomfortable jacket like that suit. I got to pop into that case. So obviously, there's something extraordinary about it that's unbelievable. And obviously, as we know as Chassidim, I don't have to go into the whole length of the chapter yet, because the ultimate is Dirba Tachtonim. Being spiritual, the ultimate is taking spirituality, bring it down here to earth. The problem is a process, which we're going to talk about. But the ultimate is a physical body. Maybe. Let's see. That's what the Rambam holds. The Rambam holds that it's to have no bodies because bodies are impediment. Because ultimately, bodies are impediment. As long as you're wearing sunglasses that darken the sun, you can't see the sun. So once your eyes, let's say it this way, let's say the eyes are the soul. Once your eyes can absorb such a light, because now souls can't receive this light. Once you, because this is light, you don't need sunglasses anymore, and they don't need a physical body anymore. Take it away. But there's a lot to talk about. We'll go through that. Let's take a step backwards and read a letter of the Baal Shem Tov. I'm not going to read it to you. I'll tell you over. To me, one of the most fascinating letters we have, and again, to me, it's not the person who's an authority, but it's just to me, my limited availability of information. To me, one of the most fascinating letters is a letter that the Baal Shem Tov wrote to his brother-in-law, Gershon Kittever. He had a brother that lived in Eretz Yisrael, brother-in-law lived in Eretz Yisrael. And he says this past Rosh Hashanah, and it's a long letter. We only have printed part of it, but I found this morning a lot more of the letter in the English translation. I got to find how accurate it is. But the letter in short, which I've seen, it's always been printed in Kesher Shem Tov, in the Alter Rebbe, in the Baal Shem Tov Sefer, he says like this: I took a trip up to heaven, and I came to this place of absolute joy, and I saw all the souls that were there. And then I ascended, he says, to the highest levels that my mouth can't explain, nor do I have the ability to explain what I learned and what I saw. It's not possible to humanly explain. But as I came back down and describes this whole thing, he didn't get to his point yet. As I came back down, I passed souls that were living in Gan Eden, enjoying with all the great tzaddikim of history, people who I knew to be wicked people, sinners. And he says, you knew them too, right? Says, brother-in-law, you knew them too. It was sinners. But they had already gone through the process, and now we're living in Gan Eden and enjoying and basking in the light. He said, but during my trip that I went up to heaven, I went all the way to the top where I found Mashiach, and I went into the room where he was sitting, and he was sitting with Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe. They were all sitting together. I asked him, when you come, that's the famous thing, when you well speak, go forth. That's a part of the letter we all know. When you well speak, pour forth, that's where I'll come. But the first part of his journey up there is unbelievable. Everybody gets there and describes the unbelievable joy that's going on there. The joy, the celebration, the light, the life, and the levels. He's describing level upon level upon level. That means there's a world right now where you're enjoying the reward. The question is, what's reward? How do you determine the ultimate pleasure? The ultimate pleasure for physical human beings is what's called intimacy, a bond with another human being in a most personal, unbelievable way. But as Jews and as souls, what's the ultimate pleasure? Bonding with Hashem. Could we bond and come close to Hashem? Connection. So we're going to see both in the world of Gan Eden and the world of Olom Haba, we're going to reach the maximum that our current situation allows and we can successfully achieve in this bonding with Hashem. So what's the ultimate connection? We say a lot of times, prayer, Kel Malei Rachamim, he's under the splendor of the wings of the glory of the Shekhinah, Who wants that? I'm happy just to have a good, healthy life. I don't want to be under the splendor of the wings of the glory. But we don't understand what that means. It means that you will have a relationship with God. You will be in a place where you can relate personally to Hashem and have a closeness, feel a connection, that intimacy with Hashem. And you can only have that in Gan Eden without your bodies, because our bodies don't have a way to connect. Gan Eden is that world where we connect to Hashem. Olom Haba, as we'll see soon, is a world where we could connect to Hashem not only in the world of souls, but even our bodies. And the question is, how could you reach, and what would be the point of connecting with a body if a soul can't reach it? Meaning, if it's something that usually a soul can't reach this level, why in a body could you? And how does that work? How does that work that the ultimate is a soul and a body, according to the Ramban, and not, if the whole thing is about bonding, how is that bond better? That's what we have to understand, and that's what we're going to explain now. But and this is all an introduction to get to that point. But to explain that, we have to explain one more idea in Chassidus, and that is the world of Seviv and Mamali. In general, if you want to explain Seviv and Mamali, Seviv is a level of godliness and godly spiritual revelation that cannot be received by anyone in this world, which means it has completely no relationship to any spiritual or any physical being. It's not like it can give a certain level to the spiritual world and a lesser level to the physical world. It's above all of it. It's an example. I'll give you two examples that I used many times in the past. One example would be electricity coming from the power station in the city to your house. If it doesn't go through a transformer before it comes into your house, these big boxes, every single unit in your house will blow, which means it can't receive it. It's impossible. It's impossible. Unless it goes to that transformer, then it goes, that's Seviv. Mimali would be, now that I went through that transformer and I dumped down my thing from 100 to a 2, now I can have a second stage of transformers where every single thing in the house gets a different level of thing. The vacuum cleaner, the air conditioner needs 220 or whatever, a freezer, fridge, a phone needs this. Now you have a Mali. Mali means I modify myself to each receiver. I will give less of me to you, but you can receive it. So what's the benefit of each one? The benefit is, say, if you're getting unfiltered light, unfiltered godliness. The downside is I can't relate to it, can't receive it. The benefit of Amali is you're getting filtered down, watered down version, but what you get, you can appreciate and enjoy it. The second metaphor makes it easy to understand, using the Chassidus, Rav and Talmud, a teacher. If Einstein, in his deepest level of profound brilliance, would want to have a conversation with us in this room, you, with me for sure, if he talked unfiltered, his deepest level of genius, I wouldn't understand a word what he's saying. And if you give a lecture to a class of 100 people, no one would understand it. But if we bring it down to the level of the world professors, Mamali, now what happens is, you could say some people understood more, some people understood less, some people got this. Why? It's not the original unfiltered Einstein, but it is receivable. I can appreciate it. That is Seviv and Mamali. Hashem has two ways he functions with the world. One is Seviv. Seviv is a light. And this level, the angels, the head of the angels, the head of spirituality, and stones and people are equal. We're all the same. We have no idea what's going on. I'll give you a minute for that in a second. We're talking about Mamali, there's a huge difference. Atzilus, and then you have a Sefer Torah, holy, Tefillin's holy, Shabbos candle, and you have, a cookie. You don't see the holiness is measured differently. To appreciate that, one last detail will be the difference between a big number and a small number compared to the infinity or compared to a billion. The Mamali would be like it's a billion, and therefore, in a billion, 100 is closer than 1. 1,000,000 is closer than 100. 100 million is closer than, but each one is not a billion, but they're closer. They could sort of have some relationship. The more I have, the more I'm related. When you have an infinite number, the number 1 and the number 1,000,000,000 are equally distant. To say an example, if you're going into a circle, or a circle, if one guy if it's a line that has an end, it's finite, I could say, and let's say a line is 1,000 miles long, and it's ants walking on it. They're very far, but who's getting closer? Well, eventually, 1,000 miles, the ants could get there, theoretically. What's if it's a circle? And you say, whoever finishes the circle first wins. You go 1,000 times around, you go 1,000,000 times around. you are the same distant because the infinite does not have an ability to say I'm closer or further. That's Seviv and Mali. Seviv is infinite, and nothing that you're going to do affects me. In that world, of course, sin doesn't matter, mitzvahs don't matter, because it's no difference. What do you think? You think what you do matters to Hashem? On the other hand, you're going out the world of Mali. What you do matters. The miracle is going to be. We're going to talk about here soon. What's Tzedakah going to accomplish? What's Tzedakah taps into? It could actually awaken this path. But just to get those ideas clear, that's Seviv and Mali. Therefore, in the world of Gan Eden, it's only Mamali. It's really the same light we have here. There's no difference between Gan Eden and our world. No difference. The difference is if we see what's going on, if it's revealed, which means the light that's shining in Gan Eden and light that's shining in Mequon, Wisconsin, is the same exact Mamali. Sorry, it's the same exact Mamali. The difference is how much can I receive? Very little in this world. If I go to Gan Eden, it's amazing. I never knew what's going on here. It's like suddenly the volume was turned on. I hear the music. You can't hear the music, and suddenly you do. But the music was always playing. The volume was down. When you go into the world of Seviv, it's a whole different level. It makes no difference who you are. You have a body of a body. You can't receive it. You can't receive Seviv, not if you're an angel, not if you're a malach, not if you're a soul, not if you're a body. And therefore, Seviv doesn't make a difference who you are. When Hashem will flick that switch that we can get Seviv, it makes no difference if you're a body or a soul. Therefore, the ultimate, when Seviv is going to be revealed to us, it could all be in bodies too. And the benefit of the body, we all know why it's a benefit if you have a body affected. But the ultimate is that when you have Seviv, truthfully at this point, until you get to Olom Haba, no one knows Seviv, no one can relate to Seviv. Seviv is oblivious. It's on, it's going, we don't know what it is. When you come to the world of the Olom Haba, when now Hashem makes some sort of miracle, we can receive it. And wow, it's a whole different world. But until that point, there's no difference how high you are. If you're the highest tzaddik in the world, you still can't tap into Seviv. And if you're the lowest guy, you can't tap into Seviv. So hopefully what I'm saying here is relatable, understandable. That's the concept that we're going to discuss. If you have any questions, please ask it. We're going to go a little further now, and then we're going to go into this deeply next Wednesday. Now let's just see this inside what we started saying. It is a revelation of the Seviv Kol Almin. We wanted to come down into this world, which is a result of Isarusa Dil Sata. It will be a result of our effort, our awakening of above, but it comes down and it comes down like for free. Why for free? We say two reasons. Either because it's like $1 million to cut in the grass, or because now it means now I can read that now they're giving us for free, but the receiving it was our effort. That happened. When are you going to have this result of our tzedakah? L'osit in the future. B'tchias hamesim, with the revival of the dead, Mashiach comes. V'yeser si'es, v'yeser az l'ein ketz. It's going to be much greater in quantity, much greater in quality. That's how we translate si'es and es. Quality and quantity greater. L'ein ketz in an infinite way. B'chinas gili ha'ara began Eden tachta v'alyen. Bigger than they have now in any way to what happens now in Gan Eden. That's why I get this introduction. Meaning what's going to happen, the revelation that's going to be in Olom Haba is so much higher than all of Gan Eden. All of Gan Eden itself, you have two parts. Gan Eden Atachtin, the lower Gan Eden, and Gan Eden Elyon. Usually it's the difference between Bria and either Yitzira and Bria, two different levels of the spiritual realms. And he says, Shari Kol Hanishamayis Hatzadikim Vatanoim Anaviyim. All the soul. The Rebbe says, this is Rebbe's commentary, tzaddikim refers to people who do mitzvahs. Tanoim refers to people who do learn Torah. And Nevi'im are the people who have spiritual awareness of God. They see godliness. All the souls of tzaddikim, Tanoim, and Nevi'im, it's not that the Alter Rebbe uses, synonyms. Holy, bright, and great. Each one means something else. A tzaddik is someone who's a tzaddik in the world of mitzvahs. A Tanoim is someone who's a tzaddik in the world of Torah. And Nevi'im is someone who's a tzaddik in the world of spiritual awareness. Shem Ata Began Eden Elyon, they are right now in the highest level of Gan Eden, Bereim HaMailas in the highest level. And I'm going to finish the 3 more words at this point. And he says every year they're going higher. Every year on the yard side they go higher and higher. So imagine Yosef HaTzadik and Moshe Rabbeinu and Shlomo HaMelech and Rabbi Akiva and Moshe Ben Yochai. Every year going higher and higher and higher and higher in Gan Eden Elyon. All of them are going to come down when Mashiach comes and get into a body. They're going to get up, get into a body, come down from this lofty spiritual realm, and they're going to wake up. They're going to be vertical. In the world of a life which takes place after by Tchias HaMesim, to benefit from the light of the Shechina. Why? Why will they do that? Seemingly, who needs to get into a body? I'm in Gan Eden, I'm in the world where Baal Shem Tov was scared to go. It says in this letter he writes, I was scared to go there to this place. Baal Shem Tov. I asked my teacher, Achia Shaleni, if he could accompany me. And he said, no, you could do it yourself. Go. And he said, I want myself. And he taught me three things. He says, it's a fascinating letter. He taught me different things. At the end, he says, he told me Mashiach is not going to come till everyone achieves your level of awareness and how they see things. So Baal Shem Tov says that's going to be too long till everyone gets to that level. He's going to tell you these three secrets how they could do it, but you can't tell anybody. To swear, he made a swear. I can tell anybody. He goes, what's the benefit? Anyway, he goes to this level, and he's in this highest place that Baal Shem Tov was here to go. So why these people coming down into bodies? And here's the kicker. Here's the final part. Because everything you're experiencing on Eden, it's only memali, it's the levels, it's the filtered down stuff. It's something that comes lower and lower through all the things that contain, the transformers that block the electricity, block the energy, block everything. Through many, many contractions. I'll continue from here later. In other words, so the whole point is we're coming down. We're going to drag all. He says the proof that this level of Amad is so special. That we're talking about. This is we take all these souls who are living for 3,000-4,000 years in Gan Eden. Moshe Rabbeinu, Yeshua, Kalev, they're living in Gan Eden. I will say, you guys got to get into a body. You know why? Because everything you had until now was Mamali level. Mamali, that's impressive, but it's not the ultimate. You guys need casks, right? You need unfiltered. You're getting energy because now our bodies will be able to receive it and our souls can receive it. Why? Hashem will do some major transformation that suddenly we can experience this stuff and not be zapped and burnt or miss it completely. Because one of two things happen with Seviv. Either you take it and you pop, or you take it and you don't even know you have it. You're oblivious to it. With Mali, you can actually learn. You can sit in Einstein's class because he's prepared himself and he's giving a class for college-age students. And he can talk to you and you can go, wow, that's fascinating. And we think we got some Einstein level. The truth is we did. But it's a very watered-down version of his theory. And again, Einstein is, of course, a human being who's a creative being. And he's all in the same IQ. He's give or take 50 or 60 numbers, but or 100 numbers. But the level of Seviv, to get that, I wouldn't know what he's talking about. Unless we'll get that unfiltered. And this is what Daka is going to come. We'll see in this chapter. We'll hopefully finish it next week. Daka accomplishes this. So how do we have La'as and Love when Mashiach comes? All these stuff. All depend on us now. So you might say, I don't see the benefit. Yeah, I get Hashem will bless you with this and with that. But the true benefit of the tzedakah today is awakening above an unimaginable response. Usually you can't touch that level. You say, Rusal really can't touch that level. That's the $1 million. Except Hashem says, you do this tzedakah. It lights my fire, and I will give you down $1 million. I will get saved flowing, and that's what tzedakah is, and that's what Alter Rebbe is sharing to the community. You want to know what the ultimate is? Tzedakah is the one mitzvah that can create the whole reality of the world to come. What happens in the world to come is dependent on our actions today. If you want, I can go over this next week again. It's a lot. We spoke about 3 major subjects, but the truth, you have to know the subjects to appreciate what the Alter Rebbe is saying in these lines.